Hey everyone, welcome to the Dating with Katy podcast. Today we're getting close to 100 and I'm breaking it down with some tough topics. Today is no less tough. Can I say that? No less tough. It is about the Mandemic. Now look, if you're a guy, stick around because I want you to figure out, are you the guy who's part of the Mandemic? Are you like the not so great guy that is causing there to be a Mandemic? Or are you the good guy that I talk about so much? And ladies, you're going to love this podcast. It is going to ring true because this recently happened to me and you're going to be like, Katy, that's why there is a Mandemic. So before I tell you this story, I want to show you the merch. I got my little Make Dating Fun Again hats, right? Because how are people going to know we're single? Like I might start doing like serious hat merch that says like single, looking to mingle, who knows? So stick around for that. But I'm wearing it today just to support my own cause here. Make dating fun again, please. Well, I did not have fun recently. I was in California visiting my kids. I was in Newport Beach. Always love it there. But I decided to have a very small private event curated by me through my database. And I invited 25 men. And before I invited any of the women, I thought, I want to get these men to commit to coming. Okay? So I know commitment's not the easiest thing, so let's make these guys commit. Now, I did charge a $50 fee to come to this event. It was going to be at a high-end bar. It was going to be all like my amazing women in my database, the top of the top. And I told these guys that. It was a $50 charge to come. And I do believe if you put your money where your mouth is, you'll show up a little bit more. Well, I had 6 men purchase tickets. Okay, that was great. I didn't really even want a big event, but it's a numbers game. If you're ever in sales, you get it. Dating's the same way. You swipe on 30, talk to 10, go out with 1. So I had these 6 guys, and on the Monday of the week, I got my first text. Oh, Katy, I can't make it. I'm sick. Okay, you're sick on Monday, but you can't show up on Saturday night. Like, really, bro? Then throughout the week, oh, Katy, I can't make it. Oh, Katy, I can't make it. Oh, Katy, who are the girls coming? Can I see their pictures first? Like, no. You cannot see their pictures first. Like, can you trust me? This is what I do for a living. So 5 out of 6 of them bailed. And one of them was so lame that he said he was coming. So I was looking for him and I knew him personally. And I thought, he'll be the man of his word. For sure. This one is it. No, never showed up. I texted him after, like, what happened? Oh, I was helping a friend with a roof and I took a nap and I just never woke up. Really, bro? Really? Is this what boys do? This is boy behavior, and this is why we have what we like to call, in the matchmaking world, in the dating world, a Mandemic. Men who are not showing up like real men do. So today I'm going to go over what a real man is. We're going to talk about that in the middle here, but first I'm going to go over like the cues and the signs of, yes, he's part of the Mandemic. So he's a boy. I'm just going to call them boys from now on. I don't even know what to call them because they're not men. It's a lack of men being a Mandemic. And then, ladies, I'm going to share with you how to get through the Mandemic. So stick around. Well, let's talk about this. I just asked on my Instagram, like, ladies, my husband sent a really great text to me that was like, babe, I'm with you forever. Like, we're doing this right. And this is our round 2. And we both have expressed how kind of deeply remorseful and sad we are that we did divorce. Sometimes there is reason for divorce, but just irreconcilable differences is baloney. It's called selfishness, is the honest truth. If I were to look back at my divorce, I would say I was selfish, pretty much selfish. And I was a quitter. And I think most people who do divorce, not everybody, but most, are usually kind of those 2 things. So, but it's nice to be in a round 2. We believe in second chances, and God is giving us a second chance with this marriage, and we're so grateful, and we want to do it right, and we want to do it better, and we want to be an example to you guys. But I asked my followers after they saw this really sweet text from my husband. One of the followers said, well, Katy, I don't know if I'll ever see that again in my life, or if there's men who still are sweet and loving like that. And so I asked a question in one of my polls, women, can men deeply love? Like, of all the men out there, how many of you do you think are left that could actually deeply love you in this way? And 9% of women said all men can, which that's very optimistic. I'm sure they all could if they wanted to, but I think there's too many shallow people for that. So I like the dreamers, but I'm not going to jump on that cloud with them. And then 19% of the ladies said about half of the men have the capabilities of loving deeply. Sadly, but truthfully, 72% of the ladies answered 20% of the men out there probably have the capacity to love deeply. And I agree with that. Again, 20%ers. Then I asked, why is it that men are not able to truly love deeply? And I know we said this in marriage group this week. Mitch, who leads it, he said, love is actually really difficult for men. Like respect is easy, but love is hard. And so that's why men are called to love their wives and women are called to submit to their husbands. We have a hard time submitting. They have a hard time loving. The irony of all that, that's for another podcast, which I'll be transitioning into relationship coaching in my next season of podcasting. But for now, let's talk about dating. And so ladies, I asked, why is it that men are just not able to go deep anymore? I asked, is it porn? Is it too many choices? Are they just bitter? Or is it a low EQ? So the lowest two answers was bitter. I don't find men walking around bitter. As a matter of fact, I find a lot of them are very generous in their divorce. They're like, you know what? I can go make more money. You know what? She took good care of the kids. I want her to have the house. Actually, I find that to be quite attractive in a man when he isn't bitter in that way. I do find women to be more bitter. So that was 6%. 14% said porn. I will be talking about porn next week. Porn is nasty. Porn is a lie, and the selfish gratification of porn is what I think is a huge part of the Mandemic. But only 14% of you said that. I had other good choices. Low EQ was next, 28%. 100% agree with that. They probably don't even know what an E and a Q is. EQ, what's that? They know their IQ, but they don't know their EQ, which is also EI, emotional intelligence, emotional quotient. And then too many choices was 52% of you ladies were like, there's just too many women for these guys to choose from. And that's partly on your end, ladies, because you're all staying single. No one's ever good enough. So you're all still out there floating around rather than being taken. And I'm a big believer. I had a course called Getting to Taken. Like, you've got to pick somebody. You got to ultimately pick somebody. You can't keep wandering around thinking there's more choices. So for as many of you that said that about men, you're kind of running around doing that too. So that will be helpful for you to kind of get in gear and start picking somebody. Like you're not settling by picking somebody. That's a whole nother podcast. Am I settling? Go listen to it. All right. Well, I want to share a story. I was just out with an Instagram follower. She reached out. Her effort was great. Don't normally do this, but I was like, okay, let's grab a coffee. Had about an hour in between some stuff. And we're sitting there. She's telling me about her ex-husband. She's a little bit bitter, not super bitter, but like cranky about it. It's been 3 years. And honestly, I'm listening to her and he didn't seem like that bad of a guy. Like, yeah, he was a little narcissistic. Every woman uses that word. He probably was. It's probably why he did really well in business and you had a nice little cushy life. She said they had a good connection. He was good to the kids. He was just kind of mean sometimes. Well, men get mean and cranky too. They have moods. They have their menopause. Like, we also have to be thoughtful to that. And he wouldn't go to counseling, which every man should be going to counseling. I think even better would be every man should be in a man group. We'll talk about that at the end, some of my favorites. But I looked at her and I said, have you dated again in 3 years? Have you gone back out on the field? And ladies, you know what I'm talking about. No, because it's terrible. And I said, honestly, if your husband wasn't that terrible, you should try to get back together with him. I think she was shocked, slightly horrified, but shocked for sure that I would even suggest that. And I did, because it's no better out there. She even at one point said, I think if I start dating someone, it'll help me heal more. No one's going to help you heal more, lady. Like, as a matter of fact, you're only going to have issues and problems from that. So that is not truth. Okay, so let's talk about reasons why there are way too many men who are boys nowadays and in this Mandemic. Let's bring up some of the examples here. The toaster texter. Now, Evie Magazine, which I love, I don't know if you guys follow them online, but great example online today of what I call the toaster texter. I had a girlfriend and she was single and this guy kept texting her for like 2 weeks. And at one point we were together and he was texting her about which toaster he should buy. So we called him the toaster texter. Like, I looked at her and I said, what's the deal? Who gives two flips about the toaster he's going to buy? Has he asked you out? And so let's translate some of the ways that men steal your time, like the toaster texter. When guys say, well, let's just see where this goes. And this is from Evie Magazine right now. I took it off their Instagram. The translation would be, I like you enough to string you along, but not enough to be with you in a relationship. Okay. How about this one? I don't want to jump into a relationship. And maybe some of you ladies are saying that, but when men say this, they're like serious. They actually don't want to jump into a relationship. Instead, what he's really saying is, I want to keep having access to you, but don't want to feel any responsibility or restrict my options. So guys, if a man's a toaster texter, he is part of the Mandemic and he's a boy. All right, what about this AI crutch that now is being given to men? Like I know on Facebook dating, you don't even have to respond. It already AIs it for you. And I'm sure there's plenty of men who are like lazy because deep down using AI, and look, I can use it sometimes for ideas or creativity or more verbiage, but it's laziness. And there's an emptiness. There's a lack of education in me for even using it. There's a lack of EQ when a man has to use AI to respond on a dating prompt. I mean, come on, really? So let's be really mindful of this laziness. And we all feel that. The lazy man is the boy. Like, how does he get through life sometimes? Sometimes their laziness too, though, ladies, is because they're just too busy. So again, he's an 80%er. He's dating with limitations. I had a client recently. She's like, he didn't respond back to me. He said he would. So give him a little grace because 1, he could be very busy. 2, maybe he forgot. Or 3, he just wasn't that into you. But nonetheless, ladies, stay aloof. Don't get bitter. That's just how those 80%ers are going to be. That's how the boys in the Mandemic are going to behave, right? And even porn. Porn is going to be a part of that. Porn is a part of everything. And they're weaving it in so softly and gently. Like porn is just, we're going to talk about that next week, but porn is now AI. It's so unrealistic. It's disgusting. They can wear the 3D goggles. Like, how are we ever supposed to compete with that? And there's no emotion to it. So guys love it. And that's what's creating boys. Boys can get instant gratification. And I'm not even going to say men. Boys can get instant gratification and never have to emotionally commit or connect or work at anything. So if they like their hand, that's all they're going to use. And that's all they deserve, by the way, ladies. Never put up with porn. I need to make a shirt that says that. Never put up with porn. I just was on my Instagram. This guy I followed, he's like, porn's fine if you both believe in it. No. You think it's going to be good for you, but never put up with porn. Then we're going to talk about shady men because there's way too many shady men. Again, this happened today. I feel like the universe, I feel like God is like, Katy, I'm here for you. I got proof in this pudding. So I'm on a coaching call with a client. She's on Bumble. She shows me this one guy, and I don't know if my spidey senses just knew, but he called himself a expert coach. Anybody who calls himself that, like date coaches. Look, I'm a dating coach, but half those dating coaches are single. They're manifesting a man. They got no man. Like, don't be listening to these people. There's only proof in the pudding, right? Why would I go to a trainer who's obese? Why would I get my hair cut from someone with terrible hair? So this guy called himself that on Bumble, and I was like, let me find him on Instagram if he's such a coach and he's, you know, this big dog coach. He had like 1,000 followers, whatever. And I'm like, who deemed you worthy to be a coach? So I'm looking, and this one photo of him with his dog on the beach in Long Beach, sure enough, it says, my wife, Sarah. Hello. This was taken on June 14th. Then in August, he's in Paris, has a photo with her. So I'm ready to like call Sarah. I'm like, because it's shady. It's boy behavior. And as part of this pandemic, I am sick and tired of E&Mers, right? Oh, ethically non-monogamous. It's baloney. It's not ethical. There's nothing about it. You're still cheating. You're still lying. You're still like putting someone's hopes up. And ladies, if you're engaging in this, you're part of that problem. So I'm going to call you out too. But his whole E&M thing, when I did end up texting him on Instagram, because I found him, I said, how's Sarah feel about this? Oh, Sarah knows. Oh, does she now? Because you didn't post it in your bio. He's like, oh, I always tell people when I start chatting with them. I'm like, you're a liar. You're a cheat, you're a sneak, and you're a liar. And that's part of this Mandemic. We got a bunch of boys who got no balls, who can't even love their one wife, thinking that they're going to go around and like spread their, you know what, spread their sperm. No thanks. Ladies have nothing to do with this. Nothing to do with it. I know you guys don't, but what about this one? This one happens a lot too. My girlfriend just called today, and I had asked my client, how do you feel about men who are separated? You know, they tell you this one. So my girlfriend, in the same way, is saying how she meets this guy, and he's like, oh, I have a friend that you could work with. Let me get your number and let's go out and chat. Of course, he's not meeting her for his friend. He's meeting her for himself, as he continues to explain that he is currently living with his wife, but they're separated. Happens all the time in LA and Orange County, because these women want the big houses. They don't want to divorce their husbands because they only get half. I mean, it's ridiculous. You deserve 100% of a man. You don't deserve his shady life. Okay, ladies, keep your standards high. Here's the other catch, is if a man only wants to do lunches with you, he's a boy. He's married. He's got something on the side. Like, stop. Don't even do that guy either. So just be mindful of all these boy behaviors, hence causing the Mandemic. But let me talk to you about real men for a second, and I hope I light up a little bit because I know they're out there because I married one and he's growing and he's amazing and he's surrounded by real men. I mean, we were just in Bible study the other night and I had to remind these guys, and everyone's at different stages, but if this ship is sinking, it's the captain's fault. Now, all you men want to be the leaders, you want to lead her, but if the ship's sinking, guess what? It's still your fault. I don't care if it was her fault technically. She cheated on you. Guess what? She cheated on you because you didn't meet her need. So men don't like to be called out because of their ego. And even in church, I had two of the guys in Bible study be like, spot on, Katy's right. Katy's right. I'm right. It's everything goes back to the man. It goes straight back to the men. It's this lack of masculinity. It's this lack of ownership in men. And I mean, Larry Elder blames it a lot too on single mom parenting. I think he's got a lot of good points in that. But what I love about real men, and I'm seeing this, my church is phenomenal. I'm going to share with you some of my favorite real men in a minute. But real men don't have a problem with honoring and loving you, ladies. They just don't. Now, they might not be the most hottest or the most fit at the gym, right? And that's usually your issue because you want the hottest and the most fit, but that's not going to be a real man. And a real man doesn't need two women, okay? A real man doesn't need to do E&M because he's so busy loving on his woman, he good. He's happy. She's happy. He's happy. It's mutual. I love it. Real men desire growth. They know what EQ is and they're working on theirs. Real men, they don't need porn either because they know that is going to take them down a rabbit hole that is dark and deep and nasty. And if real men have mothers, sisters, cousins, they won't even want to look at that stuff. If real men know about trafficking, human trafficking, female trafficking, they won't even want to touch porn because of that industry. Every time you touch porn, you are pro-human trafficking. Think about that. Ladies too, if you're looking at porn, you are pro-human trafficking. You are cool with it. So stop. And then real men love their families. They protect, they provide, and they have no problem with that. Now, here are a couple of people on Instagram, podcasts that I love to listen to. There's a great one, Man on Fire. Sign up for their email. It is for married couples, but it's married couples stuck in that hard spot. Great information on there. Pastor Keith Craft is my pastor. He is phenomenal. He's 64, giant, loves his wife, loves men, heart of gold. He runs our group at church called Mighty Men. That's led by Garrett Unkelbach. You guys want to follow him. He's an ex-Navy SEAL. Totally amazing. He has a podcast called The Impossible Life. They just did a Warrior Weekend. Ladies, you need to come out for a Warrior Weekend at my church. Woo! These guys are pulling trucks. They're fit, they're healthy, they love Jesus, they love life. It's so incredible to see. I love watching Jimmy on relationships. If you've seen his Instagram, hilarious. Pastor Mark Driscoll won't put up with any shenanigans. And I love Giovanni from Selling OC. If you guys have seen him, he loves his wife, he loves his kid, he loves his mom. I've seen it. I've been in some places with him before, and he loves the Lord. Big difference there. So ladies, what are you supposed to do? Where are these real men at? Well, again, we know the stories. You all have one, right? I'm sure each one of you could tell me about some boy behavior that's happened in your dating. But number one, make sure you have standards. My girlfriend who got hit on by this older guy who was living with his wife still, she's like, I deserve 100% of a man. I deserve it. So no way, Jose. Don't even spend your time with these guys. Don't even entertain it. So have your standards. Go listen to my podcast 75. It'll be great to help you out. Then you need to make sure that even though dating inside your area might be convenient, it might be terrible. I've said this before, if your pond is full of carp and you want a king salmon, you're gonna have to go to Alaska. You might have to make some changes. You might have to wait and be patient because you got kiddos or whatnot, but you might wanna move because there are better men in better places. I'm just gonna say it, says the woman living now in Texas, right? Okay, next one, go to church. Go to your church, go to a place of faith. Find men of faith. I'm gonna hope that your churches are full of men of faith. And lastly, this is the big one. You're gonna have to trust God. And not only that, instead of having your list, your standards list, yes, but instead of saying, I want tall, I want this, how about ask God to surprise you? I have seen it time and time again where people are like, wow, this isn't what I expected, but he's amazing. So ladies, that's what you need to be doing. Men, you need to be plugging into the right group of mighty men, of strong men. And ladies, you need to ask God to surprise you. So that's my suggestion for the Mandemic. I want you all to be as happy as I am. I truly, truly do. And I hope that you will continue to press in, press forward, and trust and wait. And let me know how it's going out there. All right, you guys, next week is on porn. It's going to be rough, but it needs to be heard. All right, wishing you all the best. And you know what? Let's make dating fun again. All right, cheers until next time.